Buff Nation. Welcome in to DNVR Buffs Prime Time. We are presented by Illegal Pete's. Check out any of their 10 Colorado locations for happy hour from 3 to 6 p.m. every day. My name is Jake Schwanitz, joined by RK. How you doing, Ryan?
I'm good. It was nice. You know, I'm happy for Georgia getting to get the last national championship before the Buffs win 5 in a row.
They're coming. They're coming, man.
We're coming.
Yesterday was awesome. Even though the game sucked, I feel like us as Buffs people, Buffs fans, we got a bunch of content and great things to talk about.
It's so true. It was jam-packed. The only thing that sucked is that as soon as Coach Prime got on the set of College Game Day, old Nicky got insecure and started hogging the mic.
Yep.
He barely let Coach Prime talk.
Well, David Pollack also said at halftime that Georgia's taking over college football, and Coach Saban was...
I couldn't believe he looked Coach Saban in the eyes and said that. I know he went to Georgia. I don't know if you knew that, but so obviously, like he's a little bit more. He has that friendly rivalry with him, I'm sure. Right. But my God, I was like, oh great, now Alabama's gonna, go on a tear.
I think the biggest takeaway we'll get to the biggest takeaway, but seems like the Coach Prime and Coach Saban relationship is doing pretty well.
It is doing just fine, just fine.
Let's get into the news then. The big topic to come out of Coach Prime's appearance on College Game Day before the Natty was about Week 0 and about the TCU game. It seems like the Buffs are going to be playing Week 0, and the TCU game is not going to be the first game of the season. It is still going to be played fairly early on, but Arizona State.
Yes. My first reaction to this, Jake, was I'm going to be in trouble because I'm supposed to go to a wedding that weekend.
Ooh.
So everyone pray for me. That doesn't mean I'm not going to the game. Trust me.
Right.
I'm going to the game, but it's just about how much shrapnel and crossfire I'm going to have to make it through before I get there. My second reaction to this was, why? Why does this make sense? Because I originally thought they were trying to get out of playing TCU. Yeah. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. I would love to not have to play TCU. I'd rather play, a tune-up school. Mm-hmm. But that does not seem like a Coach Prime move to me.
Not at all.
And lo and behold, that is not a Coach Prime move to try and get out of competition. But there are a few reasons as to why they would make this move to play Arizona State in Week 0. And I think I'll start with the one that I believe is the driving force behind all of this. The Pac-12 is in the middle of a media rights negotiation. Mm-hmm. There were rumors of an Amazon Prime partnership, which, what was the number thrown around?
$80 million per school.
$80 million per school per year?
Per year. So they're still on a deal running through this year. It's setting it up for 2024 and beyond.
Okay. So as they are in this media rights negotiation, the Big 12 was holding the rights to one of the Pac-12's most valuable games. And that, of course, is Coach Prime's debut with the Buffs. All eyes are going to be on Colorado all season, really. Mm-hmm. But everyone wants to see, what did Coach Prime pull off in Boulder? How does Shedeur look in the Power 5? Travis Hunter, what's he going to do? I mean, these are household names at this point. Obviously, Coach Prime is a household name. But even Shedeur and Travis Hunter have become household names, if not for people who are fans of football, for people who just watched the Amazon Prime documentary. So there is so much interest in this that the Pac-12, I feel very confident in saying, the Pac-12 said, whoa. We cannot let the Big 12 get to claim those numbers as their own.
Yep.
We got to make those our own. So I'm sure they went through their options of how they can get that back. And obviously the best option is for Colorado to play a Week 0 game. It didn't necessarily have to be against a Pac-12 opponent, but it probably is what makes the most sense.
Right.
And the Pac-12 regains those rights to an extremely, extremely valuable game. And so even though it's not going to play a direct role in the negotiations that are going on right now in terms of whoever buys it doesn't get that, it will still be very powerful and portray what kind of numbers the Pac-12 can get in the Coach Prime era.
For sure. Just on the schedule as a whole, the non-conference schedule is scheduled. We have dates. Saturday, September 2nd, they're playing TCU. Saturday, September 9th, they're playing Nebraska. September 16th, they're playing Colorado State. Don't think you can really move those games, which is why we're seeing a Pac-12 conference game being moved to week 0. And I reached out to someone in the program. We should be getting word on the schedule within the next 2-3 weeks, maybe even sooner than that, for everything to be finalized. So stay tuned there. But go ahead.
Really quick, in the comments, S2S Buffs said Fox and ABC are going to have a bidding war on the rights for this broadcast. I actually don't know how that works because they're adding a new game. I don't know. Essentially, I guess it would go like any other week where I think Fox gets the first dibs on Pac-12 games. So essentially they're going to get it. I don't think they're going to have to reach into their pockets to pay extra for this game.
Right.
That they would have already had the rights to had it happen in week 6 or whatever.
The other thing about this game is where it's going to be played. We've heard a lot about, this is speculation right now, but neutral site's been thrown out there. It would make sense for Coach Prime's first game because I'm sure it's going to be a madhouse. And if you're Arizona State, 2 parts about that. One, Arizona State does not want to lose a home game. So a lot of people are throwing out Vegas. I think Glendale at Cardinal Stadium is probably a more realistic option. But 2, they don't want a Sun Devil Stadium full of Buffs fans because they're going to travel for that game.
That is true.
So blow up the stadium a little bit, allow everyone to come in, and Arizona State kind of, but doesn't really lose a home game.
Well, and there's a few things that go into this. First of all is the weather. It's already hot enough in September.
Yeah.
But you move it back into August, which there might not even be that much of a difference. But a week 0 game in Tempe, no dome, it is arguably dangerous. And
it'd have to be at like 10 p.m.
Exactly. It probably would be at the earliest 8 p.m. local time. But even then, it would be odd for the Buffs who may have been going to Arizona State in November, for all we know, to agree to say, yeah, we'll play at 120 degrees on the field. So would be surprised if that's the case. That being said, ASU, it's their home game, so they're going to have a lot of say in this. Glendale makes the most sense to me. You stay local for your fans. You open up a larger chunk of seats for Buffs fans who are going to be traveling, Coach Prime fans who are going to be traveling. And since it's your home game, you don't have to split the money. You know what I mean? Like when Colorado and Colorado State play at Mile High, it's a split revenue situation. That's one of the reasons you play a neutral site and why both sides come to that agreement. ASU wouldn't have to change any sort of agreement. They can keep all the money and probably make a bunch more money on the whole.
Just a couple things I want to make clear. The TCU game is still happening because I got a bunch of tweets when I put out that tweet yesterday that I'm trying to look for hotels. Like I thought this was going to happen on this day. I'm 99.9% sure it's still going to happen on September 2nd.
And Coach Prime never said that game might not happen.
Yes.
He was just said, the question was, you're scouting for your season opener. And he said, well, we'll see about that.
Right.
And then they said, okay, well, let us know if it doesn't happen. And he didn't say, he just said, well, Arizona State might happen.
Right.
And then Herb Street on the broadcast said the week 0 thing, which made a lot more sense.
Right.
And started to, help us piece this together.
Yep. A couple other takeaways from his appearance on College Game Day. He was decked out in CU gear, man.
Amazing. Obviously, Nick Saban is Nick Saban. He doesn't need to brand any harder for Alabama. But it was an interesting contrast of Saban's there. He's arrived. Coach Prime is trying to bring CU to that level. And he knew there would be millions of eyeballs on those television screens last night. And he said, I'm putting on the Coach Prime logo, but more importantly, I'm putting on the Buffs logo to put this in front of as many people as possible to get as many new eyes on the University of Colorado and that logo. So when that logo comes to them in the mail and they see it, they've already internalized what it means and who it is and what what that stands for.
Yeah, he had a funny line when he first got on. He's like, I didn't get the memo about suits and ties, but
I'm sure he did.
Well, even if he did or didn't, he sent a message and it was received.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shout out to the Crawford Club, also representing at the national championship game with the Buffs flag. I learned that apparently they have this box in SoFi, and they showed up for the Super Bowl last year too with the Buffs flag. So Buff Nation is representing hard right now.
Yeah, and it was really cool to see, completely unplanned. Coach Prime is on the field. This was, not to jump the gun, but in the well-off video, Coach Prime is on the field talking about how we got to get here. And just seconds later, you see the guys looking through the box wearing their Coach Prime gear. They couldn't win anything. Yeah, he's like, oh, I guess we're here.
You mentioned it, but also his first tweet after Georgia won the national championship they won it probably, 15 minutes into the game. But after the game, when it was official, his first tweet just said, I believe # Coach Prime at CU Buffs football.
Love it.
He's ready, man.
Love it. I mean, it's got to be a motivating thing to be there and feel that atmosphere and see all the fans going crazy and all those things. Like, TCU is a much smaller school than Georgia, and they packed their side of the building. Like, it's got to be inspiring to see, like, oh my God, look how many people were brought together and uplifted by this run from this team.
Right. I just thought it was an interesting contrast between TCU and Georgia, just how they built their teams. Of course, Georgia, one of the most, notable, biggest brands in college football, and own the recruiting rankings. We talked a lot about TCU and how they built their team through the transfer portal, and it was a graphic that was put up in like the fourth quarter or something. Where
surprised you made it that long.
Well, I did watch the whole game. I'm disgusting, I know. But
I had to go over the Nuggets game.
Well, at least you had an excuse. I was just like kind of mourning the death of football season. But the recruiting rankings at one point were side by side, and you saw Georgia's, and it was all top fives. TCU, it was like 25, 28, 45. But I just thought that was interesting because Coach Prime's trying to do both. He's trying to build through the transfer portal now, but he's setting this program up to be a top 10, top 5 recruiting year in, year out type of program where, these are national championship winning programs once you get up that high.
Yeah. You'll probably never see CU again take over 20 transfers. The haters, I guess I'll use. I need a better word for these people. But are like trying to take down the accomplishment of being the number one recruiting class by saying things like, well, yeah, of course you should be the number one transfer class if you have 21 commits. And it's like, first of all, only 12 of those 21 have even been rated that are being counted for that at this point. Not that it matters. And second of all, they keep moving the goalposts on Coach Prime, because at first it was, oh, yeah, we'll see how he does there. Now it's, number one transfer class in the country. Well, yeah, of course, he got a lot of transfers. It's like, yeah, he had to get a lot of transfers because the roster was garbage and he had to flip it over.
Yep.
So, this year more than ever, it is super, super important to hit that transfer portal because you can't build a whole team out of freshmen. So you got to get guys with experience in college football and the Pac-12 and Power 5, wherever you can get them from, to put men on the field.
Yep.
While at the same time starting to build that platform, because in the future, next year, this incoming freshman class is going to start playing a lot more.
Yep.
Then you're going to go and nail down that recruiting class. There's going to be less scholarships available. You're not going to be running guys out of town every year like you kind of have to right now. So transfer portal is the number one key to immediate turnaround, and he's nailed that.
But you build your program, you build your culture through recruiting classes and getting ballers who are coming out of high school.
Yep. As Coach Brew would say.
Yes. Plenty more news to talk about, but before that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and also get your questions in. We'll have Kale star them for the end of the show. But I want to tell you all about DraftKings Sportsbook, which is the go-to place for betting on Wild Card Round. They are an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $200 in free bets instantly. All you need to do is download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use code DNVR. New customers can bet $5 on the NFL and get $200 in free bets instantly. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code DNVR. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. Also, shout out to Breckenridge Brewery. The Mile High City Golden Ale is out. We're having our retro party on Friday when the Nuggets take on the Clippers. It's a Breck/Nuggets watch party. It's a collab. We're going to have a bunch of great deals going on, drink specials, $6 Mile High City Golden Ale drafts, first dibs on Breck/DNVR shirt collabs. There's going to be giveaways. It's retro themed. As I mentioned, the Nuggets play at 8 against the Clippers. If you want to check out any of Breckenridge Brewery's great lists of beers, go to their beer locator at www.breckbrew.com to find a Breck Brew near you. All right, some more news to kind of digest. This is from today, but Coach Prime was on Pat McAfee's show. Great interview as always.
What a show. I didn't see that yet, but that show is just highly entertaining.
It's fantastic. After we get to this, there's a story he shared that I thought was interesting too. But Coach Prime was asked about just building his coaching staff and the caliber of his coaching staff, and he ended up saying, Mike Zimmer is going to walk through that door at any moment. Willie Taggart is going to walk through that door at any moment.
I love this stuff.
I can't believe it.
It is insane, the staff that he was able to put together. But I also just love that he's not afraid to say things. Mm-hmm. Football coaches on the whole, and really just athletics coaches on the whole, are so secretive. Mm-hmm. They don't want anything getting out until it's official, and they're afraid of this and afraid of that, and they would never allow a camera in a team meeting and all this stuff. And Coach Prime is just, as he would probably put it, he has nothing to hide.
Yep.
So that's why he doesn't mind a camera following him around all the time. But at the same time, he's just like, why do I have to curate every message and make sure it's perfect? And it's one of the things that I actually wanted to talk to Bucky about when we hopefully get him on this show, is just like the thought process that went into, because in one of the videos, he talks about how he's never edited a video on a computer.
Right.
Edits it on his phone, gets it out because it's all, I loved what he said. We don't post today's content tomorrow. We post today's content today. That was like, I want to like put that on like a quote graphic and paste it up in this building. But I wanted to just talk to him about the decision-making process behind that, because I think it kind of goes into a whole larger thing that, like with Coach Prime, like you don't need to have a fancy graphic on Twitter to announce every decision. Like,
right.
If Mike Zimmer's coming, he's coming.
Yep.
And you just say it. And I love it. I love that it's like a no frills. Not everything has to be dressed up and, curated perfectly.
I'm just so happy he said that, because I haven't been able to say that publicly. I was told not to by Coach Prime, but he said it himself. Mike Zimmer's coming. I'm assuming some type of analyst role, since we already have a DC and position coaches already figured out, and that's what he did at Jackson State. Willie Taggart, I don't know. I would assume it'd be some sort of assistant role. Obviously, as I just said, all the major roles are filled, but his value as a recruiter, I think, too, is going to be massive. And his son was visiting this last weekend, too.
Yeah, and there are restrictions about who can recruit based on what their title is. So if they want to use him in recruiting, at least directly, then they'll have to make sure he has a certain title.
Mm-hmm. I don't think I heard this from Coach Prime, but I heard somewhere, too, that Darian Hagan's role is like an ambassador for CU. So I don't really know what that completely entails, but I'm assuming he'll be doing some work on the recruiting trail. We caught up on Well Off and Coach Prime YouTube content.
It was like catching up on a TV show. Like,
yes.
I just one after another after I was binge watching.
Yeah, same. A lot of stuff. The first thing, and something that was mentioned yesterday, is, man, Shiloh can play the hell out of a piano.
Bro, what?
Yeah.
I was blown away.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely blown away. He just walks up to it. He's kind of looking around like, am I allowed to do this?
Yeah.
And then just, makes art come out of that thing. That was incredible. What a multi-talented family.
Yeah, for sure. Their house hunting video was hilarious, too.
Yes. The whole thing is just... it's like the best reality show I've ever watched.
Yes. Oh, actually, real quick, to go back to the Pat McAfee show, this story that Coach Prime told. When he was a baseball player, he played for, I don't know who exactly he played for, but when he played for the Cincinnati Reds at a certain point, he was talking about how much he loves Cincinnati, which was, I mean,
Interesting.
Yeah, interesting. And he said that at some point, he and his team reached out to the Bengals to say, like, hey, like, I love it here in Cincinnati. I'd rather if I'm going to do the two-way thing, I'd rather do it in one city. But Cincinnati was so incompetent at the time, they didn't even offer him a deal or anything.
He was a free agent, too?
I don't know if it was when he was a free agent or if he was trying to get traded or something. But he said he wanted to go to Cincinnati and they weren't having it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is idiotic. I've been to Cincinnati. It's a nice place.
Never been.
Like, you know, I can't really think of a solid big city that I've been to that I didn't enjoy in one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
Skyline Chili. Derek Wolf, who's from Cincinnati, told me it's only good if you're hammered. So, like,
I could see that.
You know, like the good person I am, I only wanted to try it the right way. So I got hammered and then I had it and it was good.
Let's go. Never had it. Never been to Cincinnati. Maybe a bucket list thing. We'll see. Another well-off nugget. We saw some stuff from this last weekend. I feel weird calling it a recruiting weekend. It is a recruiting weekend, but it's transfers.
Yeah, transfer only recruiting weekend.
But he brought in his guy, Johnny T, for some good soul food, or from Johnny T's.
Yes.
Some good soul food straight from Jackson, Mississippi to Colorado. And he said he's going to do it again.
Yes, I actually think that was in the pregame show.
Okay, there it is.
And that was really cool to see as well. What a cool thing. Obviously great for the players to be able to enjoy that type of food. Also, what an opportunity for that business.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? To be able to be flown out here by Coach Prime, cook for these players. It just goes again to what I talked about where a million times, where Coach Prime really cares about people. And, you know, obviously loves the restaurant, and, you know, built a relationship with those people. He obviously is all about relationships too. And, you know, it paid off. I really want to try it. Really need me some Johnny T's.
Maybe we get a Boulder Johnny T's outlet at some point.
Maybe. I had one other point on that I wanted to make. Oh, just about how I legitimately believe Coach Prime will have a noticeable impact on the culture in Boulder.
For sure.
And this is just an example of like bringing something in, and obviously that's a small thing for it to fully permeate. But for example, the Village Coffee Shop, the place that he did his first review at, he said, only problem, no grits.
No grits.
Well, guess what, Jake? Since then, they've added grits to the menu. Like little things like that will slowly but surely permeate, and it's a great thing. It's a great thing. I know a lot of people were worried, like, oh, are people in Boulder going to be welcome to this stuff? I really think they will be.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially the younger generation.
Oh, yeah.
And in my opinion, it is a great, great thing to bring a little bit of Southern culture and flavor to Boulder.
For sure.
Not just in food, but in everything.
Oh, yeah. To go back to Darian Hagan, this fell through the cracks, I guess, but this is from Adam Munster Tiger last week. Looks like he is going to be an ambassador, and Coach Hagan tweeted out, not coaching full-time, adding ambassador to the program, doing fundraising at times when coach can't be involved.
Awesome.
So more behind-the-scenes stuff, it seems like, for him.
Yeah, and, you know, I've said it from the beginning, it's important to just keep people like Darian Hagan around. He's a legend at Colorado, was a starting quarterback for the national championship team. It has a relationship with everyone, Jake. If you've played for CU, you know Darian Hagan.
Oh, yeah.
And you like Darian Hagan. And I think it was Jamel in the comments who said something along the lines of going to be a liaison to former players. Like,
yeah.
It is important to keep that bridge alive. And when Dan Hawkins was here, he kind of like burnt it for no reason, and it had terrible impact on the program. But like, I don't know if Coach Prime necessarily has the time to be making sure that the bridge between the new era and the old era still exists. Having someone like Darian Hagan is perfect for that role to keep those people coming in, bring them into practice, introduce them to Coach Prime. Those sort of things can only help the program.
I wonder if he works closely with Bus for Life, NIL, and stuff too.
Yep, he should.
He should,
and I think he will. I mean, that's another group that he's very close with.
The best video I watched last night, one that you have yet to catch up on. Coach Prime is on the GQ, the cover of GQ. He's doing a lot of content for them this week. Had a photo shoot, the whole 9 yards. But man, this 17-minute video that GQ put out, just Coach Prime breaking down his most iconic looks, going back to when he was a minor league player in the Yankee system and still kind of playing college football, all the way through the end of his career. It's a fantastic watch.
Wow. You should have told me it was the best of all the videos.
I said this was amazing when I sent it to you.
You did send it to me and say this is amazing. I would have moved it up the list. I had 9 to catch up on.
Yep.
And I didn't make it to that one. Let's just think about this, Jake. In the last 24 hours, Coach Prime has been on game day at the national championship. It came out that he's on the cover of GQ.
Yep.
Did the video you talked about, which I'm sure will do, thousands and thousands and thousands of views.
Yep.
And was on CBS News Mornings this morning.
I didn't catch that one.
A little too early?
Yes, much too early.
But, I mean, that is in 24 hours. The exposure for the program is remarkable. It's incalculable.
He is a very unique individual. I'm trying to pull up this GQ video to see how many views it has.
You never know with I have no idea how GQ is doing on YouTube.
38K views in a day.
Okay. This is not nearly as much as a well-off media video gets.
No. In the description, the quote, "I don't follow trends, I set trends. I make you look down at yourself when you see me."
Oh, that's
love the man. Moving on.
Oh, and the Pat McAfee show.
Yes.
In 24 hours.
Yep.
Good comment from
Fushnik. Well done, Fushnik.
Just remarkable. It's in Buff's gear in every video. Oh, man, we coming.
We're coming hard. Some recruiting news. 2024 5-star wide receiver Ryan Wingo is scheduled to visit CU on January 28th. That is 2 weekends from this weekend. It's interesting because he has a 247 crystal ball that has him pegged to Tennessee, where he's going to visit this weekend for their junior day. Next weekend, he will be at Texas A&M, and the weekend after that's when he's at CU. He's taking the whole tour.
Let's do it. Like someone from On3 said recently, it's a numbers game.
Yep.
You get in on enough of these, you're never going to get all of them. Not even Alabama gets all of them, although they get most of them. All you need to get is a couple. So you keep landing visits. You keep getting in top fives. Tesla is announcing today.
Yep.
I don't know if they're going to get him, but you just keep being in the conversation. It literally is a game of numbers. You're in enough. You pull the slot long enough, you're going to hit a jackpot eventually. And they're going to hit more than just a few jackpots.
For sure. A guy we talked about, I think, yesterday, 2024 4-star tight end, Kylan Fox. He's supposed to be visiting CU on the 21st. So not this weekend, but the weekend after. His mom DM'd me because I said that he has received 35 offers.
You should have kept the source anonymous, but it's fine.
But 57 offers.
I love
57 offers.
Unbelievable. That's everyone. He has an offer from everyone.
Yeah, I got you, Mama. Kale, I sent you a tweet. Ryan already alluded to it. Isaac Tesla is scheduled to announce his commitment today. Let's just watch this because this is what's the caption say? One hand is plenty. Thank you.
I thought this was going to be a one catch video.
Oh well, it's one hands.
It just goes on and on and on of him making incredible catches. The ones from practice are
Yes.
out of this world.
Yes.
Look at these things. Who does this?
That one is ridiculous. That one too.
That one too.
What the hell is that? That is witchcraft. Oh my God.
I need to see this man's hands.
He's got to have massive hands.
How large are they? What? The ball never moves.
No.
That's the crazy thing. Like, you see one-handed catches where guys like tap it to themselves or whatever. No, the ball hits his hand and it just stays there. So I don't know if he's gonna be a buff, but gotta give him props. I'm excited to keep watching his career. 6'4", sharp routes.
6'4", 210 with a 41-inch vert, 10-foot 8-inch broad. He says he runs a 4.5 440.
And like 13-inch hands.
Yes. Was the GMAC Offensive Player of the Year in 2022. I looked it up before the show. I already forgot what GMAC stands for, but it's a JUCO conference.
The Good Morning America conference.
I don't know if it's that. I think it's like, I don't know. It's something Missouri Atlantic or something like that.
Interesting.
Greater Missouri Atlantic or something.
No way.
Truly JUCO. Yeah. I'm on his Twitter page. He still hasn't announced. He says it's coming today. So I've got his Twitter alerts on. I'm waiting.
All right. We will, gosh, I hope that he somehow becomes a buff just so I can see the videos of what he does in practice.
Yes.
And then, of course, I want to see what he does on the field.
Well, maybe we're there at practice taking the videos.
That is true. I keep forgetting that. Again, Coach Prime, nothing to hide, might be opening up practices, which, by the way, has not happened at Colorado in a decade.
Yeah. Coach Sanford let us in a little bit.
Yep.
We got to see some individual, which is nothing, but we saw some 7-on-7 stuff, and we learned who was injured and stuff. So,
yep. John Embry's first year at CU, which I think was 2011, he had open practices, and it has never happened since.
let's get back to that. That'd be nice. Before we get to you guys' questions, shout out to Illegal Pete's, the presenting sponsor of this show. They have a new menu coming out for the new year with an endless options of fresh ingredients. It'll fit into any diet or dietary restriction. As I mentioned off the top of the show, check out any of their 10 Colorado locations for happy hour from 3 to 6 p.m. Try out a refreshing Hoplark Citra at any Illegal Pete's location. It's everything you love about a nice cold beer, except it's dry January friendly. Shout out to Illegal Pete's. Also, welcome Shady Rays.
Oh, yeah.
Shady Rays. If you use code DNVR at their site, you get a buy one, get one free deal. Kick off the new year with the new gear built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered from the sun to the slopes with premium polarized shades, customizable snow goggles, and much more. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the year. Go to shadyrays.com and use code DNVR or visit them in-store at the Park Meadows Mall for 50% off 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself. The shades rated 5 stars by over 200,000 people. Welcome Shady Rays to DNVR in All City.
Absolutely. And
Or I guess CHGO.
Yes, DNVR, CHGO, the whole All City family. Do we know who makes Coach Prime's sunglasses?
No, because when when I was looking at their page, I was trying to find some like them.
I thought there are some on there. I was like, does he have some Shady Rays in the closet? So there, you know, if you want to get some similar sunglasses, maybe the same ones, I don't know. Check out our friends at Shady Rays.
They have like the same style where it's like, you know how it's like a lot of sunglasses are the 2 frames or the 2 actual lenses, and then you have the frames.
The frame.
Yeah, exactly. They have those, but it's not like the mirrored ones like he has. So maybe one day, Shady Rays.
A couple things from the comments that I wanted to touch on before we get to actual like questions.
Okay.
So someone said, did you see the Shador snowboarding video?
Ooh.
Speaking of talented family,
Pure athlete, man.
How
do you learn that?
Where did he get that?
I don't know.
Because like I saw someone post about it, and I was like, oh, like he'll be trying to learn how to snowboard, and because the whole family said they've never seen snow.
Yeah.
And then Shador's just ripping.
Yep.
Which honestly, there was like the angel and devil on my shoulder. One is like, oh man, he's a kid, let him have fun. The other one is like, what is he doing?
Right. He shreds though, man. You can throw that first one up, Kale, from Ryan J. This is a great question. RK, serious question for someone who has followed your work for decades, or for a decade. If I told you 60 days ago you would be doing daily live buff shows and there were hundreds of people watching each day, what would you say?
Thousands watching each day.
Yeah.
I would have no idea what to say. Because it's not like
You'd laugh.
right. Because it's not like you could have known that there's been no games. You would know there had been no games. So it's not like they turned around the program in a on the field fashion. I might have actually been able to say like they must have hired Coach Prime.
Yeah.
It's about the only way that we could get to where we are today. You know, people who know me know I love all Colorado sports. Colorado sports is, you know, my passion. But the Buffs are and have always been my first love. Mm-hmm. So this is, you know, like it's been more work for me to do these shows every day, and it just doesn't feel like it at all. This is all fun for me. It's like a dream, legitimately.
Yeah, not gonna lie. During the season, like when I had my one weekly live show, I'd be like, damn, man, what am I supposed to talk about on this show today? And then I do have to plan a show, but it's just content just keeps coming in. It's crazy.
Right. You just have to pick from what's available and organize it.
Yeah.
Whereas before it was like you're trying to plant seeds to grow anything.
Yes.
It's a really, really, really cool thing.
Yeah, fantastic. A bunch of people in the comments saying that Coach Prime and his family have vacationed to Colorado and I guess hit the slopes a lot. So maybe that's where Shador kind of learned.
It just doesn't add up with Coach Prime saying he's never stepped on snow.
We'll have to ask him, Shador, directly then, where he learned on the snowboard soon enough. All right. What do we got, Kale? Where do you get that shirt you have on? DNVRlocker.com, man.
Yep.
We got this Ralphie Sco one. We got the primetime ones. We got the regular DNVR ones.
Yep. We got damn near everything and much, much more to come, especially on a Buffs front. Really want to get working with the players, start doing stuff with them. We'll just have more shirts. I think we need a We Comin' shirt. Mm-hmm. So
8 toes down.
Tap in. Yeah. 8 toes down shirt.
Next from my guy Jimmy. Did you see the speech to his staff by the pregame show? Which one exactly?
The one to the support staff. Did you catch that one? It was 3 or 4 deep on the pregame show.
I might have missed that one then. I got to go back.
It was interesting. Shades of the conversation with the players the first time. But a little different. But he laid it out there and was like, look, there are way too many people in this building have gotten comfortable with losing. And it's just not going to be like that. And he really laid out his expectations for everyone there. And he said, if you don't meet the expectations, you're going to be gone. Like, but don't be, he was essentially like, don't be afraid that that's going to happen. Just don't let it happen. You know, he was talking about, you know, the cafeteria staff, and he's like, you guys are the first thing the players see when they come in here every day. Like, I need you guys with smiles on your faces, welcoming them. He also said, we can't have lines for people to get food. That's crazy. But like just going through one by one and just laying out what he expects. And I respect that a lot, because you cannot succeed no matter what you're doing, especially if you're working for someone, if you don't know what they expect from you.
Right.
If you're constantly trying to think about what they probably expect from you, you won't be able to succeed. If someone comes in and tells you exactly what they want from you and exactly how they need it, then it's just up to you to execute it. But great leaders in companies, businesses, sports organizations, whatever, tell people exactly what they need from them, exactly what they expect from them, and leave it up to them to meet those expectations.
Did you watch the Tim Brewster speech?
I did.
That man is just pure flames.
He's fired up, man.
He's unbelievable.
There's a tidbit in there that I had not thought about.
What's that?
That Coach Prime is the only coach in America who's an NFL Hall of Famer. I guess now Ed Reed, but in Power 5, it's just Coach Prime.
Well, that fits into this question I got on Twitter. How many former NCAA/NFL head coaches would be on this staff if they joined? He said 7. Let's go through it. I mean, we have Sean Lewis. We have Tim Brewster. Who else do we have? We have Mike Zimmer.
Yep.
Willie Taggart. So that's 4.
Dancy.
That's, FCS, but...
Oh, okay.
Well, he said NCAA, so yeah, that counts. So 5?
Yep.
Pretty damn good number, man.
That's a crazy number. And I think it's a number that actually some people would be concerned about from an ego standpoint. And I just don't think that's going to be a problem.
No,
here.
I don't think so either.
There's no... Let's just say Sean Lewis was the coach, and he brought in all of these people. There, I would worry a little bit because he's a young, kind of up-and-coming coach.
Right.
Where a Mike Zimmer, not to name him directly, but someone like a Mike Zimmer might be saying, this guy has no idea what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And start to kind of try to, hey, you're doing this wrong. This is how I did it when I... No one is going to act that way towards Coach Prime. And Coach Prime, in my opinion, isn't going to run an organization in a way that makes people that have done it before question him.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess my main point is people know their place.
Right. I mean, especially with someone like Coach Prime at the helm. I mean, no one's going to try and, for lack of a better
Usurp
term...
his power.
Yes, out-ego him is what I was going to say, so yes. What else do we got, Kale? Any validity that it could be a neutral site game in Vegas? That's tough, man. We already kind of covered it, but
I think that's wishful thinking from Buffs fans.
yeah.
Obviously, we would all love that.
Right.
But I don't know how much sense it makes. I think the neutral site that would make sense would be Cardinal Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Jake, we haven't thought about the fact that there could be a preseason game there that weekend.
Right. Yeah.
So the NFL, I don't believe, releases that for a few months. And so I guess they could work around it if they needed to. But there's other things at play.
So what if they did have the game in Vegas and they just said that next year's Buffs home game against ASU is also in Vegas?
Sign me up.
Yeah.
There's a lot that goes into it. So I just don't know what those negotiations would look like.
Yep.
Someone also said like the Buffs should offer to trade like 2 road games for a home game. Like that's not going to happen either.
Yeah.
But I think Vegas is the only way Vegas is at play is if for some reason ASU feels like that benefits them.
Right.
Otherwise, I just can't see why they would leave the state.
Yep. From John, what's up, guys? Any word on Mr. Smoke signing? Neither of the Mr. Smokes I've seen word on. Cavassier or Smoke Bowie.
Yes, the running back Smoke
Mm-hmm.
Did post like a buff up,
Yeah.
cool set of pictures, but
Yep.
nothing yet.
From NWP Mitchell, does the house hunting video and complaining about cost of living hurt recruiting? I agree, it is insane. It is insane, but I don't know.
Definitely doesn't hurt recruiting, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Maybe recruiting coaches.
Yeah. Well, it seems like Andre Hart said he's got a house already. He's
there you
already
go.
figured it out.
Good for him. It doesn't hurt recruiting because the players don't have to pay for their living when they're out here.
Right.
That's one thing that I think a lot of times gets lost in the college football discussion, Jake, is that, of course, we could compensate the players more for what they do. But I lived with football players when I was in college, and they get a stipend every month from the athletic program to pay for their rent. And I know in my specific case, we found a great deal on the place we were living in. So my roommate was like pocketing money each month off of his rent stipend. Back then, I want to say it was like $1,200 a month. I'm sure it's gone up significantly since then. So the players don't have to pay for their living when they're out here. And I don't think that would even cross their minds.
This is a great question for what I was going to say. What other positions need to be addressed the most with transfers, in your opinion? One, I think, is running back at this point. And then Boo Carter, to your point about Cavassier Smoke, he put out that hype tweet, right? Buff up. Boo Carter put out a tweet. Let's see who has the best fan base. So go hit him up on Twitter. Let him know. He's got the Buffs in his top 5 with Ohio State, Oregon, Tennessee, and Michigan.
We're going to have a hard time in terms of numbers.
Yeah. Buff Nation shows up on Twitter, though.
We absolutely do. What was I going to say about... I don't know. I lost my train of thought. Sorry.
That's all good. Next one, Cal. From our guy Sean, wonder if y'all drew any inspiration of what the Buffs D could be by watching Georgia last night. Charles Kelly will bring that same 3-4 multiple scheme of defense that he as well as Kirby have under Nick Saban. I mean, you hit it there. It's multiple. I don't think we learned necessarily anything last night just because that was a complete ass beating. But
can we get some Jalen Carters and Keely Ringos?
Yes.
That'll make me feel really good about how our defense is going to look.
Yeah. And the wide receivers that they continue to just pump out too. Mitchell, I think his name was. I don't know. He had an insane touchdown grab in the corner of the end zone.
They all, I felt like Lad McConkey was going off.
Lad McConkey, yeah.
Brock Bowers.
He was the best draft prospect in that game last night.
Bro, what is he?
He's a unicorn.
You're not supposed to move like that when you're that big.
He is unbelievable, though. From his freshman, he was doing this stuff last year, too.
He would be maybe a top 15 pick if he went in this year.
Might be top 5, honestly, man. He's insane. He'd be better than any tight end coming out in this class.
The only tight end you ever see that team is just scheming ways to get him the ball, like screens and, end arounds and all sorts of stuff. I mean, you'll see a team throw that stuff in there, I think, as like a wrinkle. But no, this is like we have to get the ball in his hands because he's so dynamic.
Yep. And he was like, I don't know if he was hurt, but he was kind of like shut down against Ohio State. And then he just comes out and has this fantastic game against TCU.
Beast.
He's an animal. Any chance DNVR Locker can add some youth/baby buff clothing options as well? We have some littles that need the prime swag and some shady rays from Christopher. That's a question for you.
It's a tough one. We've dabbled in that before. I guess I'll let you guys go behind the curtain a little bit. When we create something, we have to create a certain number of it for the cost to make sense for us. And we weren't able to sell that number of it, if you know what I mean. So it's like it's just one of those things that there has to be a pretty large demand for us to do it. Now, there's probably a world in the future where we start just printing our own stuff, and then we can just do anything.
Right.
But as of now, the demand hasn't necessarily met the stock that we've had to hold.
DCB channel, is it football season yet? I'm with you, man. We're still quite a long ways away, unfortunately.
I said this because Hank on the Broncos podcast had a terrible take today in which he said, I'm just so glad college football season is over. And I was like, actually, every day is college football season in the Coach Prime era. So it is football season for me.
Yeah, at least we have the draft, and then real postseason depression is going to start kicking in come May.
We're going to get to root for some Jackson State guys to get drafted.
Hell yeah.
It'll be fun.
Nugget, who was the other corner?
Bolden.
Bolden, yes.
Then Aubrey Miller.
Aubrey Miller's declared. Was Shane Hooks is in the portal, I believe.
Yep, he is.
Dallas Daniels, I think, is eligible.
There you go. So we'll have our eyes on those guys because I don't know if the Buffs are going to have anyone drafted.
No. I mean, Guy Thomas and Terrence Lang may get some like camp invites.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen guys get drafted in the late rounds that I never expected. The Broncos actually drafted Juwan Winfrey a few years ago. I was like, what? He was injured the whole time. But, there's some of those like just, what's the word I'm looking for? Potential plays that some scout somewhere fell in love with a kid because he saw a play or whatever.
Right. That's about it. You guys are incredible. You hit 200 without even...
Wow, we didn't even have to... now we got to start shooting for 250, and then we'll shoot for 3.
203 now. There you go. 303 every time. This is your last show for a while.
Yes. Taking a little post-Broncos season trip to Mexico.
Yep.
So only, I guess, the rest of this week. and then the first show of next week. But I will miss you guys.
Yeah, we'll miss you.
If the Buffs get like a crazy 5-star recruit, I'll hop on from the beach.
Let's go. That'd be a great scene. So no show tomorrow, guys. We'll be back on Thursday, and then we'll gear up for this weekend's massive recruiting weekend on Friday. Hopefully we gain some more information. As it stands right now, don't know too terribly much yet. It seems pretty spread out. This dead period's ending.
Yep.
So they've got 3 weeks really to work with before February 1st.
Going to be an exciting run.
Going to be very exciting. Shout out to everyone in the comments. Shout out to everyone listening. We'll be back on Thursday. Oh, Christopher with a last-second super chat.
Last second.
Are you concerned with 2 freshman wide receivers starting with Jimmy Horn in the slot? I think Quay Davis or another portal wide receiver is needed. I mean, they're going after Tesla. They went after Broden.
They're going to get another
beef
one.
it up. Yeah.
They'll get another one in the transfer portal.
Cephas is out there.
Yep, Cephas still out there. So, no, I'm not worried. I haven't been worried since the day Coach Prime was hired.
Yeah, for real. From the H family, is the spring game open to the public? If so, do you know the date so I can book my flight to CO? Man, I wish I knew the date.
I love that this is a thing. No one has ever asked that.
Yeah. I wish I knew the date, though, because I'm trying to plan some stuff around that time, too. So
people trying to book their trip out for the spring game is music to my ears. But it will be open to the public and likely free. Mm-hmm.
And likely broadcast on ESPN. Jackson State's game was broadcast on ESPN.
Beautiful thing.
Love it. This is it, man. Last call for last second questions for the next few days. I think that might be it, though.
Let's wrap it up.
Yep. Shout out to everyone watching and listening. We'll be back on Thursday, guys. Hit that like button on the way out. Go Buffs.
Go Buffs.